I think you can't really look at dealing with poverty systemically if you don't have partnerships. We found that out in the coalition. That was our reason for pulling people together. I'm Marion Sheridan. I'm a Sister of St. Martha here in Antigonish. My professional background is clinical social work, and I've worked in family agencies in Boston, Halifax, Toronto, and in a number of places in Nova Scotia. For me, poverty is about people, and so relationships is key. And I think any community development that we're looking to do, systemic or individually, really has to be about relationships and how we come to trust each other and learn from the things that go wrong. But there's a history in Antigonish that we have to build on, which is the Antigonish movement and Moses Cody, who went out to meet people about relationships in their houses. And so I'd like to start with the Antigonish Coalition to eradicate poverty. And there were three of us, many others, but the three of us who got together, maybe 2010, and that was Lucille Harper, who was at the Women's Resource Center at the time, Colleen Cameron, who was at Cody, and myself as a Sister of St. Martha, but as a social worker. And we saw, to put it briefly, that there were many people working on things to end poverty. So we got together and called a group. I think at one point there were maybe 40 different groups and individuals that came together. And one thing that I always keep in my head about those sessions was we did two flip charts. One was, what does Antigonish look like with poverty? And what would we like Antigonish to look like without poverty? And I think that brought us around to the 8 issues that we felt we could pull together and work on. And that was transportation, recreation, childcare, health services, housing, food security, income assistance, and education. So it was looking at how can we share what we have in a better way. Really, it's about individuals and about community building. When we were doing affordable housing and trying to fundraise, and sometimes we would take turns being at the market in a tent outside kind of thing and trying to tell people about affordable housing. And a little woman came up, one young mother with 2 little ones, and she said, "What's this all about?" And so this is a relational thing. We were telling her what it was about. And she said, "Oh my gosh, could I ever do that?" And we said, well, we'd have to sort it out. Anyways, she was on income assistance. On her way out, she came over and gave me $3 in change. And I said, I'll give you a receipt. She said, "No, I just hope you keep doing it." For me, people might say, "Oh yeah, that's nice." It's more than nice. It's somebody looking at the possibility and giving you a little bit of what she had. You need to believe that they have a right to a quality of life, and they have a right, just by being a human being, to respect. We're often very forgiving for people in large corporations who do awful stuff, but if it comes to the poor and the vulnerable, people have to be a voice for them. And I think that's the whole coalition advocacy is, yeah, that's why the coalition got formed, really, to have a voice, a larger voice for people. I would say, even when it looks like everything is a mess, to keep going in terms, we're talking poverty. So to keep going and keep remembering that poverty is not just about finances. You can be poor in housing, you can be poor in food, in gender identification, in housing, how we treat water, which is something we all need. And it's also try and think about peace building. Peace building is not somebody's going to do it for us. I think the other thing is the basic income in terms of policy, because I think that would do two things. It would bring it to the attention of political leaders that, yeah, you're in this for the common good. We really are your boss. We're the ones that put you there. And so to get that as a policy can also help people financially, but get them more educated, have more food, and have the independence to make those decisions. Because I personally believe that living in poverty, you don't have opportunity to make decisions. They're made for you. And that's counter-human from my point of view. We used to have a saying, the group who worked in poverty at the UN, if you're not on the agenda, you're on the menu. Horrible thing to say, but it's true.